Now, back to Ed Flash Ferens with America's Workforce.
Hey, we're back. It's America's Workforce. Don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Twitter handle is at AWF Union Podcast. By the way, this next segment brought to you in part by the fine folks at the Ohio Federation of Teachers. You can find them online at oft-aft.org. Before we get to Pete Ielmini, just want to share with you some news I got the other day out of Indianapolis. Union members' work is well underway on the new Marion County Criminal Justice Complex in Indianapolis. Now, the story is this. It's not being built under a project labor agreement. However, it does have a 100% union workforce, and that is thanks in part to the support of the mayor and the city council members who are very, very close allies to the building trades. Those relationships make a big difference, especially in projects like this. Well, check this out. The new campus will include an assessment and intervention center, a mental health and addiction treatment center where critical root causes of detention and recidivism can better be addressed. We got a comment here from Jason Smith, who is the business manager of the Heat and Frost Insulators Local 18. And he emphasized the need to have only highly trained and highly skilled tradesmen and tradeswomen install mechanical insulation on leadership in energy and environmental design projects, or LEED for short. LEED certified projects, said Jason, like this one, give us an opportunity to raise the awareness of our trade and the importance of a quality finished product. Gotta love that. 100% union. Speaking of the Heat and Frost Insulators, let's go to line number one. Welcome one of our regulars, Pete Ielmini, Heat and Frost Insulators LMCT, with even more good news to share. Hey, Pete, welcome back to the show. How are we doing today?
Hey, how you doing today?
I knew you were going to do that. My Jersey guy comes out once again. So here we are 2 days before Christmas, and some good news I just shared. You know Jason pretty well, I take it, right?
Yes, I do. I do know Jason. He's a tremendous professional and advocate for our union labor efforts. And you mentioned the connection with with government and politics, and it goes back to a segment we did a couple months ago, Flash, about the importance of developing these relationships with our politicians. It's a big role on how union labor can secure work for our members.
And you know what I've been doing here for the past couple of weeks? I've noticed a lot of union activity, organizing projects like this one happening in states that are what you call not union friendly, right-to-work states. Indiana is a right-to-work state. Arizona is a right-to-work state. I just talked about organizing down in Arizona. So this is all good news. Now, share with me what's going on in Illinois. Now, Illinois is pretty pro-union. I know that. And we have a program called Climate Jobs Illinois. Pete, tell me all about it. Go ahead.
Yes, we are extremely excited to be part of this initiative. And this has been brewing now for about a year, maybe even a year and a half. A labor coalition called Labor Climate Jobs Illinois has unveiled a tremendous and aggressive jobs that are going to address climate change and global warming. And ultimately, it's trying to get the state of Illinois to be 100% clean energy by 2050. In other words, that means no fossil fuel will be used, and it also means there'll be no emissions that'll be coming out of Illinois by 2050. It's an aggressive agenda, but to me, it's refreshing because we all been hearing about global warming and clean energy and climate change, and this is the first that I'm aware of a very large scale attempt to equate how jobs and how and what we're going to do in our economy and our environment to actually tackle these massive topics of global warming. And it's exciting what they have planned to do. And this coalition is with the building trades. It's with the AFL-CIO. It incorporates the teachers union and public employee unions, as well as the construction trades. And it's very aggressive, but the coalition is being smart about it and developing the political base and be able to generate and develop legislation and make laws in that state that are going to have the power to be able to push this through for the next 30 years. And the real gem of this is that this could be a shining light or a beacon for other states to be able to follow around this country, either use this as a model or use it as a model to even improve it even further. But it's going to create union jobs, much like you talked about Jason Smith and Local 18 of Indianapolis. This is going to create almost, if not even more, 300,000 union jobs in the state of Illinois.
All right, let's get into the particulars here. 300,000 jobs next 30 years. This is pretty much right now a blueprint. Are you going to walk this through? Obviously, a program like this is going to require some funding and public funding, private funding. You got to get some partnerships together. Are we at that stage right now, or do you have plans for the next year? Fill in the blanks here, Pete.
Sure. Well, the funding is going to start, a lot of it is going to start with the legislation of the state of Illinois. How is the state going to best spend their taxpayers' money? And it's been proven that pro-union labor is not just a political mantra, it's a good business decision to make because you get high-quality work at a reasonable cost, as opposed to other type of work where the labor may be cheap, but you have poor quality workmanship. And
sure.
In order for this thing to really flourish and to be able to work, you need high quality workmanship. Energy efficiency is the key to making this work. And everything about efficiency is how well the systems are designed, from the electrical equipment to the generating equipment to the battery storage equipment to the energy efficiency of mechanical systems. Energy efficiency and making these systems efficient is the backbone of clean energy. You know, you can only imagine. We all watch TV and watch movies, and I think of spacecrafts and the space shuttle and all the Apollo missions and even space travel we do today. You know, in that spacecraft, they have to operate thousands of systems on minimal electricity that's developed by solar panels. And everything is about efficiency to be able to make it work. And a lot can be done. If everything is efficient, a lot can be done. And one of the things that you need is this high-quality craftsmanship. The Climate Jobs Illinois break it down into 10 initiatives that simultaneously they're going to be attacking, if you will, use that term, attacking global warming and the climate change. One of them is to install up to 10 gigawatts of solar power by 2030. 2030 is only just about 9 years away.
Yeah.
That's a lot of solar panels that have to be installed, and that's going to, again, incorporate a lot of our building trades. Obviously, the electricians is what comes to mind easily, but there's a whole bunch of other support trades that be able to go into that. There's also going to be 13 gigawatts of wind power. also developed by the year 2030. It's going to the third one is going to stabilize the energy portfolio of the existing Illinois electrical generating stations, which include six nuclear power plants that are going to need to stay open. When we talk about clean energy, believe it or not, and many people don't want to believe it, but it's the truth. Nuclear power is one of the cleanest energy sources that we have, and it is safe. It is safe. Again, it's safe based on the quality of workers that are working on these plants. And,
exactly.
To me, 100% union means it's going to be safe. It's going to be safe for the environment, with zero emissions. Another aspect of it is the accountability of the electrical power and tax rebates for any improvements that are made to reduce electricity or to reduce the use of fossil fuel energy. Part of clean energy is also making the emissions carbon-free or lessening the carbon. And improvements that are made to a home, or more importantly, a business or a factory or a plant, is going to be able to also offer some tax credits. That's where a lot of the legislation comes in. That's going to benefit the people of Illinois. It's also going to be a pipeline with these increased jobs. We have to be able to increase the labor force of our unions, and they're going to strengthen the entry into the unions with PLAs and also the use of apprenticeship programs, which everyone should know is the backbone of our great building trades, to be able to train people to be the best in the world, to utilize and promote our apprenticeship programs, and to be able to enhance them and advertise, and to be able to also advertise heavily in disadvantaged communities, and be able to advertise or make aware of the great benefits of being able to join a union. PLAs, a lot of these projects are going to be governed by PLAs if necessary. PLAs will guarantee the work to be done by contractors that utilize our apprenticeship programs. The transportation industry is also going to be enhanced with it, and there's two initiatives that are going to increase the use of EV. EVs is a short term for electrical vehicles. There has to be charging stations that have to be built. There has to be charging manufacturers to build this equipment, and there's also going to be factories built to actually make the vehicles themselves. And just building factories alone is going to be a major impact for the economy of offering jobs for the state and the local community. And one of the centerpieces of this initiative is to create a carbon-free schools initiative, as it's called. And what this is going to do is take all of the schools that we have in Illinois and look at the energy efficiency of these buildings, of our schools, and look at the HVAC system, the heating, the cooling, which falls right into our category of mechanical insulation. And mechanical insulation is going to be the center point of energy efficiency. And it's going to be right smack dab in the middle of all of the improvements that have to be made. Obviously, boilers and chillers and air conditioning units and heaters will be looked at. But when we talk about reducing carbon emissions, you have to talk about the efficiency of the system. And the easiest way to get the system to run efficiently is to have mechanical insulation installed. The less time that boiler is running, that means less emissions are being emitted into the atmosphere and less energy is being used. Same thing with the air conditioning units as well. So
Sure.
All of these items, all these 10 items, we feel are going to produce a tremendous amount of work for the people of Illinois, and also be a big boost in the arm for us as mechanical insulators.
Absolutely. Wow. Boy, there's a lot of components to this. Joining us on our live line is Pete Ielmini. He's one of our regulars on behalf of the Heat and Frost Insulators LMCT. We're talking about the creation of 300,000 jobs in the state of Illinois over the next 30 years. And a lot of these jobs are going to happen in the next 10 years. Solar, wind, nuclear, all good stuff. And this is a project that could happen in other states. We'll talk about that coming up next. Vince Shaw will be joining us later in the show. Vince is with the Teamsters, been with the Teamsters for over 40 years. He's going to talk about gate gourmet workers. These are airline catering workers that got screwed on government money. This was all taken care of. Why? Because they're Teamsters. And we'll talk more about that right here on America's Workforce. Back in a few.
You're listening to America's Workforce with Ed Flash Ferens. Now, back to America's Workforce. Here's Ed Flash Ferens.
Hey, we're back. It's America's Workforce, and we're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Also, check us out on Facebook, AWF Union Podcast. Let's go back to our live line, rejoin Pete Ielmini, who is laying out some really, really good news coming out of the state of Illinois. Climate Jobs Illinois. This is going to be a program that's going to get some national attention, talking about the creation of 300,000 jobs in that state in the next 30 years, requiring energy efficiency improvements at all public schools. That alone will create or save over 67,000 jobs over the next 8 years. I mean, lots going on here. And this is being done with a collection of unions. I know, Pete, you want to give a shout out here. Heat and Frost Insulators, obviously involved. What are the other unions here you want to mention?
Sure. Another aspect that we are really proud of, this is not going to happen on a statewide basis without the cooperation of many of our leaders and many of our locals. And one of the first things that we did as an international was to pull together all of the 6 locals that are involved in the state of Illinois. And it really is heartwarming to see a team effort come together and helping each other and helping each other's local to be able to make sure that the members and the residents of the community are involved in this. And I just do like to give a shout out to the locals that are involved. It's something that we're proud of, and they should be proud of as we're working toward this coalition. And just as a note, some of these cities where these locals are based out of may not be based in the state of Illinois, but their jurisdiction, because then just maybe over the border, it does go into Illinois. So these are not cities that are located in, but these are how we name our locals and how they're identified. We have Local 1, based out of St. Louis. Local 17, based out of Chicago. Local 18, based out of Indianapolis. Local 19, based out of Milwaukee. And Local 37, based out of Evansville. And Local 81, Cedar Rapids. These are the locals that are going to be involved in it, and we have 2 people that are spearheading the efforts. Bill Mangan, who is the business manager of Local 17 in Chicago, he is going to be sitting on the executive committee, along with our deputy director of LMCT, Gina Walsh, and what a dynamite person she is to offer her expertise to get the state initiatives and the state legislation in line to what has to be done. So we have a dream team there of leadership that's going to have a major impact with this Climate Jobs Illinois.
Yeah, we'll have to get Gina back on the show. I know she pushes a lot of women trying to get into the trades. We had her for that trades conference some months back. So that there's so many opportunities. And Pete, think about this. I mean, we're looking at 30 years out. So if somebody's thinking right now about a career in the trade, specifically mechanical insulation, you get in the apprenticeship program now, and you could probably retire when you're done working on those jobs in the state of Illinois. I mean, that's the beauty of this whole thing, because we're talking 30 years out here. Let's address that right now, because as you know, Pete, this has been a rough year with apprenticeship programs and just trying to stay safe on the job because of COVID-19. Is that opening up more now? And especially when you got news like this out of the state of Illinois, that's got to generate a lot of excitement. What's your point of view on that?
Yes, it is. The fact of COVID is, and the virus, and unfortunately it looks like it is getting worse around the country, and everyone's hoping that the vaccine is going to be able to offer an end to this nightmare for all of us, but that's going to take some time. As I reported before, COVID has affected workers in the building trades as well as the insulators, but work has not really been impacted dramatically because of it. Because I feel, because of the training that our members have, we were well equipped mentally as well as physically to protect ourselves on the job site. And I don't think people are getting sick on the job site because we are practicing all of the CDC regulations, recommendations, and distancing and wearing respirators. Much like elsewhere in our society, the problems or the deficiencies happen when we let our guard down and we go out and socialize. And as human beings, that's what we do naturally. I'm not judging or laying fault with anybody, especially when we're looking at the biggest holiday season of the year for us,
Sure.
Christmas and New Year's. It's just a natural occurrence to want to socialize. But on the job site, the men and women are focused on what they have to do, and with the support of our contractors as well, very aware of the fact of being focused on safety and health, which includes protecting our members with COVID. And social distancing and wearing the respirators and following the procedures is something that is paramount on the job site. So we feel this is going to happen with COVID and with not, and we're going to be very successful doing it. And you're right. That's a good point, Flash. You can sign up with the apprenticeship programs now, and you can have 30 years of a career working in the energy efficiency business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I'll say it again. The insulators, mechanical insulators, we were energy efficiency experts long before it was cool. And it is good to see that we're getting recognized for what we offer, and that is energy efficiency, and 100%. That is what we do. We are in the energy efficiency business.
Well, Pete, if one thing can be said, this just shows what can happen when everybody gets together. You bring the unions to the table, you bring the game changers, the politicians, the contractors, you bring them all to the table, and we know we got to do something about climate change. I mean, that's a proven fact, and it's going to happen in the state of Illinois. Now, my next question here is, it has to be starting to get some national attention. I mean, climate change is it's a global issue. But I'm just wondering what's happening or about to happen in the state of Illinois. Is it too premature right now to say that other states can follow the lead on this? No,
it's not. It's not premature. Absolutely not. other states have done something like this, and they're going to use their resources to maximize their efforts and having their results accomplished. But they're going to keep an eye on Illinois, and as proud and powerful as Illinois is, you take a state like potentially Texas or even California. If they get on board with this, and use it as a model. And just because it's going to be used as a model doesn't mean it's going to be duplicated. Ideally, you take a model and then you enhance it. And there's going to be some shortcomings and some pitfalls and some lessons learned in Illinois. Someone who picks up this model will learn from those errors and make it even stronger. I mean, that's just evolution.
Sure,
that's something that has to be done. I compare this. I'm showing my age now a little bit, but I believe it's important to talk about history, especially labor history. I compare this to the Boston Harbor Labor Agreement that was developed in 1993. And that advanced nationwide use of construction PLAs for public work around the country. Boston Harbor, they revitalized the harbor, and they did it with a PLA, a project labor agreement. And at the time, there were doubts that a PLA can work for public work. Well, the people of the Boston area and Massachusetts, they, as you said before, they pulled the unions together, which is the best workforce in the country. They pulled the politicians together. They pulled in private industry, and they developed PLAs, project labor agreements, on a humongous proportion, and it was a tremendous success. And it did set a platform of public PLAs that are being used around this country even today. And I believe this Climate Jobs Illinois can have the same effect when we talk about energy efficiency for states around this country, and also Canada as well. Sure.
Pete, what a great way to wrap up this year. I mean, there's been so much bad news this year with regard to COVID-19, and oh my God, so many jobs lost. We're still looking at 20 million people without a job in this country, and now you come here at the end of the show, at the end of the year, and lay this on our audience. So this is much appreciated, and I'll tell you, it's been a pleasure having you on America's Workforce. We're pretty new at this. You and I started this conversation, I think it was back in February when you were the guest here on America's Workforce, and you became a monthly here, and I tell you, I really enjoy your input, and I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to 2021, especially with a focus on the state of Illinois. So you take care, my friend. Be safe. Best of the holiday season, and keep moving forward, okay?
And thank you, Flash, and thank you for all that you do to help be a voice for us on the labor community. It is valued, and I do appreciate your support as well. And I'd like to wish you and everybody else a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Well, thank you for the kind words. It's an honor to be the voice of workers in America. Mechanical Insulators, LMCT.com is the website. Mechanical Insulators, LMCT.com. Pete, you take care. We'll talk to you in January, all right?
Okay, thank you.